Rick Perry joins us now. Thank you very much, Governor. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you.
Why endorse Ted Cruz after all of the criticisms of Ted Cruz and of the fact that senators don't know as much as governors that you made when you first were launching your own bid this time around?
A lot of time with the senator over the course of the last 60 days, and he spent an entire day with me in Round Top, Texas at his request, which is a very precious thing to give up your day off to come spend with someone else. But the fact of the matter is we sat there and we talked. I want to know who Ted Cruz the man was, not who Ted Cruz the politician was, or what the caricature of I'd heard of him, the people who had by and large, drew this picture of Ted Cruz who couldn't get along with people, anyway, the long story short is I found an individual who was probably one of the best listeners that I've ever been around in that business in my life, and a person who knows what he doesn't know. And Andrea, that is a real virtue in this business.
Well, let me play, just to remind you, while you fix your earpiece there, sir, what you had said back in June when you launched your own race about the viability as a presidential candidate and as a president of the United States of people who come out of Washington.
The question of every candidate will be this: when have you led? Leadership is not a speech on the Senate floor. It's not what you say. It is what you have done. And we will not find the kind of leadership needed to revitalize the country by looking to the political class in Washington.
So were you just, what converted you? Just that one day that he spent with you in your home in Texas?
Oh, we spent a lot more time than just one day. But here, the American people have discounted the experience. I happen to think back in June when I announced that was going to be what the American people were really looking for. But obviously that's not. Bobby Jindal, when Scott Walker, when Jeb Bush and Rick Perry are all discounted greatly, then, I'm not going to argue with the American people. I'm going to basically say, you know what, then of those individuals that are still in the race, who is the person who's going to be ready to be the commander-in-chief on day one? And I've come to the conclusion that that's Ted Cruz. He is a consistent conservative. I happen to think this is an individual who can put together a coalition of disaffected Democrats, of minorities, of women across this country who are tired of Washington, D.C., not listening to them, and to truly be able to put this country back on track economically, militarily, get our reputation back internationally. And I think Ted Cruz is that individual that can do that.
Governor, what about Donald Trump and the impact that his criticisms of Ted Cruz's citizenship, including a tweet just today, that's really had an impact? The polling numbers have really slid just in the last month since Trump has taken on this whole issue of Canada and natural-born citizen. Don't you have any concerns about that?
None at all. Ted Cruz is a citizen of the United States. He's a proud Texan, and this is a deflection off the issues. Who is it that can get this country back on track economically? Who is it that Americans are going to have faith that are going to be there standing up for our veterans and our active duty military? I happen to think that the consistency in this race is really important to me, and I think to most people as they sit and wisely make this choice. Mr. Trump's been all over the board on whether it's assault weapons ban, and now he's Mr. Second Amendment, whether it's issues of social issues, of which he's been on both sides of. And, which Donald Trump are you going to get when he gets to be the president? With Ted Cruz, it's going to be a consistent conservative who hones to the Constitution, who believes in devolving power back out of Washington, D.C. to the state.
What do you think about Mike Bloomberg saying he might jump into it if it is either Ted Cruz or Donald Trump?
Well, I think it makes for an interesting conversation, and we'll have to see whether he wants to take that big step or not. So I do believe that the caucus process is not a national poll, that you're going to see an outcome. Ted Cruz's supporters are committed. He's got the best organization in Iowa. I am very comfortable that when the caucus is over with, that Ted Cruz is going to be standing at the top of the mountain.
And would you support Donald Trump if he becomes the nominee?
Oh, listen, whoever on the Republican side is going to be monumentally better than either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders.
Rick Perry. Governor, thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Ms. Mitchell, thank you very much. So long.
You bet.